Not all coral atolls are places of beauty. They're not all tropical paradises, places you'd want to be shipwrecked and stranded. Some are barren and nearly lifeless, completely exposed to the elements, mere obstacles to be circumnavigated by sea voyagers. I like virtually visiting these kinds of islands. Jarvis Island is one such place. Jarvis, this patch of trapezoidal off-white in the South Pacific, with a name that sounds like it's from the Marvel universe. A coral atoll that's not on many island bucket lists. What's its story? I didn't realize how important a role bird and bat excrement played in the West's agricultural development during the 19th century, until I started learning about islands. But the story of guano mining is a recurring one for islands like this. Guano brought people to Jarvis not long after the passing of the U.S. Guano Act of 1856. Guano would be mined in earnest for 2 decades before being abandoned by the Americans. Several years later, operations would resume, first unsuccessfully by 2 men from New Zealand, then by an English entrepreneur. As the 20th century drew near and guano demand lessened, the island's purpose would shift from fertilizer source to its strategic geographical importance. But well before all this, in Peru, guano had been used in agriculture for more than 1,000 years. The word itself comes from the Quechua language. The Andean people would collect the stuff from islands like the Chincha Islands. And decades later, it was Western colonialism that would bring people to guano-rich islands like Jarvis. In a not insignificant anecdote, exports from Peru to Europe saw the transportation not only of guano, but also a microorganism that would go down in history, a particularly strong strain of potato blight, the one which has been blamed for the Irish potato famine. Almost all of the buildings and infrastructure put up on Jarvis during the guano age were lost to time and shelling during World War II. It was the lines, the ones to the west of the dried-up lagoon, those faded remnants of a tram that was built with the express purpose of hauling mined guano over to the western shore to be loaded onto the U.S.-bound ships, and the hint of previous habitation that propelled me to learn about Jarvis in the first place. But I got more than I bargained for, doing this as I am during the information age. I wanted to know the story of this small piece of land, but the context kept widening out, and then zooming in again. Before long, I was far astray from my original goal, and was reading about the Haber-Bosch process. Circuitous as my journey may be, I always come back to the islands.